Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about anger, the big scary topic that everybody's scared of. Anger is a very important emotion, and it's one that often gets pushed away and side talked, and I don't want to do that because it's invaluable. It's really something not to be dismissed. And so this is probably going to be a several video series over time. And today the way I want to start is by talking about the part of anger that I'm most familiar with, and that's denying it, right? There's a whole subset of people, and this is to you that I'm talking to, that don't do anger, don't get angry very often, don't have access to their anger. Just no one would ever call you an angry person. We will do other ones later on for people who get really angry easily, and this isn't that. If that's you, watch for some other things because this might be valuable as well. But for right now, I'm just going to talk about anger and the people that don't go there very often. When I was in college, I had some friends who would often say things like, "Tim, I'm just kind of waiting for you to start shooting people. Tim, I'm just kind of waiting for you to explode. Like, this can't be right. You can't just never be angry. It's not right." And I didn't get it. I'm like, no, I'm just not angry. It's just that doesn't happen a lot for me. And sure, it's happened. I don't never get angry, but I'm just not an angry person. That's fine. And I had always been taught that, seen commercials about going to count to 10 and never shake a baby and like all of these things that are really good advice. But I think the thing that I learned was anger is bad. And that was easy for me to do because I didn't get angry. So I became that guy who never gets angry and is always happy and peaceful and calm. And what I learned was that it didn't work so well. People actually stopped trusting me. This is a weird thing for me to get, but eventually I understood it. If you've got the whole range of human emotions here, and most people feel most things in this range, and anger is just like right there in the middle. Basically everybody gets mad. And all of my friends experienced me having all of these, except that one, and all of these emotions, except the anger part right there. And what I realized was that there's this big part of me that nobody knew. And that's kind of a little untrustworthy. When you say to your friends, you actually know me, but you don't know this part over here, and you're never going to see it, and I'm never going to show it to you, people can actually distrust you a bit because of that. And that's kind of the feedback I was getting. And what I learned over time was that anger is actually a really very useful emotion. This surprised me. Everybody had always said anger was terrible, and now I started hearing from these teachers that anger is actually not only useful and okay to feel, but good. This may be a little weird to hear. Anger can be good because it's often the thing that helps me realize my boundaries and what I stand for and what I want. Right? For me, the way anger shows up in a positive light is if somebody comes over and does something I don't like, I get angry. And it's not like, hey, don't come over here because I'll get angry and that'll be bad because I'm angry. No, it's don't come over here because I don't want you here. And if somebody crosses that boundary, I'm going to get angry. And that anger helps me push back. It's an invigorating emotion. It enlivens us. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of power there. And all of that power can be misused, which is why there's all these bad connotations about anger. But it's a lot of life force that shows up immediately to help you as a tool to hold your ground, to hold your space, to set your boundaries, to claim your own sovereignty. And that may sound a little grandiose, but it's not. Anger is actually a way that I use as a tool to know this, when I feel angry, somebody has encroached upon me in a way that I don't like, and I get to push back against that. That's okay. One thing I've noticed in people that often don't feel angry is that they also often don't voice their preferences or claim to not have opinions or desires or wants or needs. And I think those go hand in hand. the more we repress our anger, the more we repress our boundaries and our expression of the things that we want. And so in this case, for me and for this group of people, for us, anger is good, and I'm going to encourage you to do it as much as you can. Now, obviously, you want to let everybody know in your life, hey, I'm practicing anger. It might be a little sloppy, it might be a little messy. I'd like your help. I'd like you to just let me know if I've gone over the line. But yes, go out and practice it and get angry and express it and see what happens, because my guess is you'll feel a whole lot more alive and sure of yourself and confident. It's wonderful. How do you do that? For me, this was a big deal. I had no idea even how to get angry. And so here's a lesson that a teacher taught me that I want to pass on. Very useful. Number one, get a journal. Simple, basic notebook. Divide it into 2 columns, and in one column, write down the time that something happened that you felt angry about, and then in the next column, what you felt in your body. So I might write down 8:45 a.m., I got cut off in traffic, and what I felt in my body was my hands tensing up. Or, 3:30, my friend stood me up for lunch, and what I felt in my body was heat in here. And so this is actually really important, is I didn't learn necessarily to feel anger in the moment for a long time. What I did was kind of reverse engineer it. After writing all these down for a week, doesn't even take very long. You can do it at the end of the day. Just reflect back for your whole day, times when you think you maybe have felt anger. Don't have to be right or wrong. It's just a practice. But do this for a week or two and then go back and look at it. And what I noticed was that there was a pattern. And the pattern for me was whenever I feel a tension and a clenching right here in this spot, I was angry. That was a pattern that I deduced. And so then going forward, it was really easy for me to feel a tension here. A whole lot easier for me to feel that than it was for me to feel the feeling of anger. But when I felt that tension here, I knew I was angry. It's like, oh, I must be angry. Let me feel that. And when I say let me feel that, I mean there is a rush of life force and energy that kind of comes up through me and out. And I feel a little bit bigger, and I feel warm, and I feel a little jittery. And for me, that's all I necessarily need to do is let that move through me, and that's it. Then I'm feeling the anger. I can decide whether to do something with that if I want. Yell at somebody, kindly ask them not to do whatever they're doing, anything like that. But the first step really is just noticing what it feels like to be angry. And there will be a sensation in your body. There may be even a few patterns, but start writing all that down every night and just look for the pattern. I would love to know how this goes. Please, in the comments below, or send me an email. This is kind of near and dear to me because I've worked really hard at it, and I'm still working hard at it. I'm definitely not good at anger yet. But let me know how this goes. Write down that journal. Start noticing some patterns. Let everybody else who's watching this know too, because there is a sense of community around this, and like, oh yeah, that happened to me too, and oh right, I didn't notice that sometimes my legs get tense, and I hadn't even thought about my legs. So please try this out, and have a great angry week.